So, it's been a while since I made a Lorcana video. It hasn't even been... Well, it's been a while. It's been about a month and a half since we got Ursula's return. And next month, we're getting set 5, Shimmering Skies. What's with trading card games and having skies in titles of their set? Anyway, so 3 decks. I'm saying 3 decks have been topping with a high win rate. One of which is Emerald Steel. This card. Yeah. Anyhow, second being Ruby Sapphire, which is a pretty cool deck. I tried building the Ruby Sapphire deck that I a little bit ago without the Sisus and everything else, and I still only have 1 Maui because I'm poor as heck. It did not end so well. So, I was thinking, what do I have in my bulk, in my collection, that I can build a viable yet good deck? Right? And the answer today is Sapphire Steel. So, I was looking for some Sapphire Steel deck listings and whatnot. The last time that I played Lorcana with Ruby Sapphire, one of my first matches, actually I think it was the first match, it was against Sapphire Steel, and my opponent and I were talking, sharing ideas and whatnot, and it really made me think. And I'm like, hey, this is good, and we started sharing it. Again, we were sharing ideas. I'm talking a whole lot. And I'm like, okay, cool. Let me see what I have. And I started removing all my Ruby cards and started looking through the seal bulk. And then I started looking for deck lists for Sapphire Steel. And I found 2 deck lists on YouTube. I will be linking those decks in the description, and I'll be comparing and contrasting against these 2 decks with my build as we go. And, I want to give credit to the 2 people who have built this deck. You should look at their videos as well. They go into why they play these cards, and I will go into why I'm playing the cards that they listed and why I'm not playing the cards that they listed. So, without further ado, let's go into my Sapphire Steel deck. So, I want to talk about the starters first. Let's move this guy. So, of course, all 3 decks, and yes, I will be posting my deck list as well. So, the 3 starters for this deck are, of course, when you're playing Sapphire Steel, you gotta play your Popsicles, you gotta play your Fortispheres, because, you play them, you draw a card, and then Fortisphere, you spend an ink, and then you banish it, and you make any character on your board have bodyguarded until the start of your next turn. And then, of course, Popsicle, banish it, remove damage. I think you can just banish Popsicle up front. I don't remember. Now, this is where the comparison for these decks are going to go into play. So because this person did not, as far as I'm concerned, he probably doesn't have a Dreamborn.Inc account. So I'm using my Dreamborn.Inc account. I wrote up his deck and whatnot, so check it out, and of course I'm gonna link his YouTube channel and whatnot. So from 24K Lorcana, are 4 Kit Cloud Kickers. Now this is interesting because they have Ward, and Ward is very powerful in this meta right now, which is why Bucky is so freaking annoying, which is why, like, when people try to use Fire the Cannons or Brawl on Bucky, they're like, you cannot do that because Bucky has Ward. So that's why. And then from the same deck list from 24K Lorcana are a playset of, oh, there it is the Floodborn Kit Cloud Kicker. He quests for 3, which is great. He also has Ward, which is great. However, another big reason why we're running these Kit Cloud Kickers in the deck is turn 1, you either start with your Popsicle or Fortis Sphere, or you start with Kit. Turn 2, you know, try to start ramping and whatnot. Or if you have Kit Cloud Kicker in your hand and you're like, I'm not going to ramp just yet, I'm going to play Kit Cloud Kicker. And then turn 3, you ink and shift into Kit and have him sing, let's say, One Jump Ahead or something that would get your opponent's characters off board. So Kit can sing all of the songs in the deck list, which is a big deal. So, and of course, you know, questing for 3, so if you don't have your Tamatoas or Aerials out, you know, if you want to start jumping ahead into getting on the board with questing, go for it. So, and for all 3 decks, we are playing Mr. Smee, which of course, you know, 3/3, quest for 2. He's good to get us started on board if we don't see One Jump Ahead and whatnot. And yeah, or if we don't see any Popsicles or Fortis Spheres to draw, you know, or we play Kit turn 1 and all that stuff. And of course, you know, we don't have any captains in the deck, in any of the decks whatsoever, so he will take 1 damage at the end of the turn when he's exerted. And then for my deck list, because I still need to save up cash to buy certain cards that are in these deck lists, because unfortunately there's some cards I don't have. Another substitute for Mr. Smee, if we don't see him, I have 3 copies of Noi, which is actually not bad because he does get resist +1 in Ward, since you will be having a Popsicle or a Fortis Sphere out, or your Fishbone Quill, which is wonderful because we're gonna need to start questing, and with Noi having Ward while an item is out, he can't get hit by Let the Storm Rage on or any other cards that single target a character. Now, of course, you know, you can't go without 4 Hiram Laversham. You gotta have him, because if you also don't see the Floodborn Kit and whatnot, he can sing And Then Along Came Zeus. And that's pretty much it. But also, you know, pop and draw. You know, simple as that. And then I'm running 3 Grammatala. The deck list, Zero the Heroes deck list runs 2. I am planning on dropping mine to 2 as well at some point, but that's just me. So, you know, she's a good searcher. She also sings if Hiram's not around, or if you have both out on board, you can have Tala sing the 4-cost songs. And then I am running... Okay, so my deck and Zero the Heroes decks are running both beasts, you know. He can ignore Sisu, he can ignore, Madame Medusa. So, not all too bad. And then my deck and Zero the Heroes deck are running 2 Aerial, treasure collector, whereas 24K Lorcana runs 3. That's actually not too bad. So, you know, I might bump it up to 3 because of a certain card. So, we all know what she does. And then, so Zero the Hero runs 4 Tinkerbell Giant Fairies, and then, you know, 24K Lorcana runs 3 Tinkerbell Giant Fairies. I unfortunately do not have any Tinkerbell Giant Fairies. Those are probably going to be next on my list to buy, but they might be the last because they're going to be the most expensive cards for me to buy single-handedly. So, you know, I'm running in place of Tinkerbell 2 Simba Fighting Prince because he allows you to draw 2 cards and discard 2 whenever you play him, or whenever he banishes a character in a challenge, or you can deal 2 damage to a chosen character. Now bear in mind, his second effect will not target characters with ward, of course. So, but it's not bad. It's pretty good. So it's a pretty good budget option. If you guys don't have any Tinkerbell Giant Fairies, I would recommend running 2. And yeah, and of course, you know, when you draw 2 cards, you discard 2. So if you wind up drawing, like, let's say a Lucky Dime or an extra Popsicle, and you want to just dump them both. And then the next card on the list will bring those cards back to your hand. And right now, I'm currently running 3 Tamatoa, which we all know what Tamatoa does. For every item you have in play, he gets +1, and when you play him, or when he quests, he brings an item back to your hand. So, you know, no need for explanations. And of course, Zero the Hero runs a full set of Tamatoa. Unfortunately, a few months back, before, you know, this whole meta that's going, I did not buy a full playset. I thought I did. So, oh well, I'm gonna have to shell out another like $7-8 depending on what the shipping costs are nowadays. What, $1.22, and then tax. It's crazy. So with mine and Zero the Heroes list, I'm gonna go into the actions right now. We are running 4 Babooms because Baboom is inkable. It hits a location, so that's all good. Let's see. And then it looks like that 24K Lorcana does not play any Babooms in his list, unfortunately. Like, runs 2 Fire the Cannons. Yeah, it's cool and all. It's uninkable, but it does cost 1 less. However, I would rather have the option to ink Baboom if I don't need it. But, you know, that's my opinion. Everyone's build is different. So, it is what it is. And all 3 decks are playing this lovely card, Rise of the Titan, to banish a location or item. Mine and Zero's plays 2, whereas 24K runs 1. You know, that's okay. That is a-okay. So, and then we are running 4 copies of One Jump Ahead. Zero the Hero's deck list is running 3 copies because he thought he had a playset. He explains that in his video. And then it looks like that 24K Lorcana does not play any One Jump Aheads, which, you know, I like One Jump Ahead because, you know, you take the top deck and exert it into your ink. But sometimes, yeah, I understand it can be a risk while ramping, because if you wind up if you have 3 Tamatoas or 3 Fishbones like I do, you know, it's gonna be a big risk to take. So it's one thing to think about. And then I'm playing right now 1 copy of And Then Along Came Zeus. 24K Lorcana is running 3, and then Zero is running 2. So running 3 is actually not a bad idea. I might bump my thing up to 3, but we'll see, we'll see. And then I play 2 copies of A Whole New World. I feel like I don't want to flood my deck with 3 copies of A Whole New World. Both 24K and Zero run 3 copies of A Whole New World, but I'm gonna opt into running 2 for now and see how that feels. I actually did my logos this week before making this major update to this deck, and yeah, it felt a little bit uncomfortable, but at the same time, like, okay, this is fine. If I need it, I need it. And then my deck in 24K plays 2 copies of Let It Go, and Zero runs 1. I mean, I kind of understand why Zero runs 1, but I think having 2 copies of Let It Go might be a little bit better, especially against the Ruby Sapphire matchup, to like just get rid of your opponent's Tamatoas before he quests big time. Yeah, you're giving your opponent more ink, but what would you rather have? Would you rather have your own Tamatoa have dominant presence on the board, or would you rather have your opponent have that? So that's just one thing to think about. Let's see, both decks, 24K and Zero's decks, are playing 3 copies of Grab Your Sword. I'm running 2. I would love to at some point run 3, but yeah, we'll see. And then we have 3 copies of Fishbone Quill, which Zero runs 4, and 24K runs 4 as well. Oh my god, I should not be playing this game anymore. I really thought that I bought a playset of Fishbone Quill. I could have sworn that I did, but I don't know where it is. So if I find a 4th somewhere, then that's great. I mean, it's a $10 card. It's about a $10 card now. So, and then my last card, his Lucky Dime. I'm running 1 while they run 2. So, unfortunately, fortunate enough, I pulled this out of the booster box. I should have bought it when it was like $4 or $5, but you know, I was so focused on other things and whatnot, and I'm just like, am I ever gonna need this? Now I do. Now I do. But you know, it is what it is. I'm gonna go with some of the major differences in 24K Lorcana's decks. He's with the cards that he's running 2 copies of Hercules' Beloved Hero, which is pretty interesting. I mean, he has Bodyguard and Resist +1, but you know, you got Fortis Sphere to act to give your character Bodyguard, but you know, it's inkable. You know, if you don't need it, you can just throw it away. But I would think about probably getting rid of probably with 24K Lorcana's deck. I would probably get rid of, you know, the 2 Hercules' Beloved Hero for another Rise of the Titans and another Tinkerbell Giant Fairy, and then probably get rid of the Fire of the Cannons for the Baboon. But then again, this is their deck, they can do whatever they want with it. And they are also running McDuck Manor, Scrooge's Mansion, so it's actually not a bad play. It's not a bad play because, you know, the 2 lore every turn, it has 9 toughness and all that cool stuff. So yeah, it's not bad. And also, both decks are running respectively 3 copies and 4 copies of Cogsworth Grandfather Clock. That is actually going to be the next card on my list to buy, because that's for me, that's cheaper right now, because I can easily replace, you know, certain cards in the deck, in my deck. So I'd probably probably be lowering down, getting rid of the Simba fighting princes, and then bringing Grammatala down to 1, and then I might bring down the Cloud Kicker Navigator down to 3. That would just be my play rate. That would probably be my option at that very moment. But again, you know, this deck is fun to play, and you know, if you have a good chunk of these cards, it can be a very budget-friendly deck to play. Also, a couple of cards that I was playing until I upgraded this deck a little bit ago this week. I was running 2 copies of How Far I'll Go, you know, just search and ink, and then I played 2 copies of Develop Your Brain, which is also another good starter card if you're not running, you know, the 1-cost Cloud Kicker. And I was running 3 Benjas, which, you know, banishing items is great, but he is very susceptible to Madame Medusa and Sisu, and that's why I dropped Benja completely. But other than that, this is a pretty solid deck. So, you know, if you have any questions, let me know. If you like the video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Leave comments in the comment section below. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. And I still need to record the 2nd episode of the Illuminators Cafe podcast. And then, I was busy with work. Like, I'm doing like about 40-hour work weeks right now, close to it. So, I will be hopefully streaming on Sunday or whatever. So, again, thank you guys for watching. Have a good day and take care. Bye.